Emulation isn't a bad word. Now, I know a lot of you guys think that emulation is this big bad thing that's ruining the video game industry, but the fact is, well, it's not. I actually think emulation is keeping the video game industry alive. Think about it this way. A long time ago, when I was a kid, I watched Citizen Kane on TV. Now, Citizen Kane was released in 1941 on celluloid. That's film. And you know what's funny about television? It's not film. It's an analog signal. Over the years, it turned digital, but when I was a kid, it was still analog. Now, let me explain this, because it's really important. Over the years, I've been able to purchase Citizen Kane on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, picture book, a lot of formats. Blu-ray is probably the best way to do it nowadays. But what's so funny about that is, that's technically emulation. It's actually taking the film and kind of modifying it so you can watch it on a television nowadays. Now, video games are digital. They've been digital since forever because they're video games. And it should have been super easy for us to take really old video games like Snatcher on the Sega CD and, play it on modern systems. And mostly with the work of programmers working independently at home, it's not very hard to download an emulator and play classic and impossible to find games. But officially, you'd be hard-pressed to find many worthwhile official emulation packages or software being promoted or even sold by the companies behind some of those classic games. It just makes sense for every major publisher to release their old and hard-to-find games in a modern and hopefully DRM-free emulated method. But Konami, well, they don't do that. And I really would prefer that they did. Because companies like Konami and Nintendo, sometimes they trickle out a couple of games that are really old from the days of yore, and they release them onto modern systems so that we can play them. Sega, really good at this. Sega's pretty much released every single video game they ever made onto new systems like the GameCube and the Wii and the PlayStation 3, and now on the PC. And the reason why they're doing that is because, well, their shit broke. The Sega CD was such a good system. I really miss it. I mean, yeah, it had a lot of problems, but Snatcher was such a fantastic game, and having the only version of Snatcher in English be released on the Sega CD, well, that kind of sucks because, well, the Sega CD is old, and the laser diode really doesn't work anymore. And I've got friends, like the camera guy, Nick, you own a Sega CD, does it work anymore? Nope. See? Look at that. How much does that suck? If he had an original copy of Snatcher, and he doesn't have that, but if he did, he wouldn't be able to play it anymore. And that sucks. And I really think the companies should be working a lot harder to make their old systems work for emulation, because guys, you're really not making enough money out of your old shit anymore.